Good morning, traders. So it is Friday the 11th of November, so 11/11/2022, and it's been an amazing week. It's been an amazing week. We've had the US elections, which are still kind of not completely wrapped up yet. They're still counting some votes. It's very complicated, way more complicated than it needs to be. Nevertheless, that is the state of things. We also had CPI numbers coming out of the US yesterday, and so what I was actually expecting, it's interesting, what I was expecting for the week was to have some good, possibly a bit of some movement on the Monday, then maybe a bit of hesitation on the Tuesday, and then some movement on the Wednesday, and then possibly Thursday. Let's see what happens. And actually what happened was market went into a coma basically until about Wednesday because people were still voting and they just weren't at their desks. And then Thursday, just this huge kickoff. And today, my expectation, the beauty is that almost every single one of those moves that happened yesterday was in line with the week. With the weekly overview, where we were looking at where we expected the markets to go, and all of that carried on. And actually, I'm still with that. So that means that today, my expectation is the markets, aside from maybe some retracements or pullbacks, my expectation is the markets are going to continue in the same direction. And I really want to see a strong close. If we can get a strong close on the US indices and even non-US indices, that's a phenomenally good sign for next week, because aside from retracements next week, it's going to provide us with quite a few buying opportunities across commodities, gold and oil, as well as the indices. And also we're going to see a stronger euro, stronger pound, stronger Aussie dollar. We're going to see dollar yen tank. There's going to be a lot more clarity in the markets if we can get that strong finish. Okay, so we're just having a look in terms of earnings reports today. There's only really two of note out of the US, the Zurich Insurance Group, and then I saw Nedbank as well. That's really it. There's not much else that's very exciting. And today we've had most of the economic news coming out of the UK. The pound is stronger, so that's good. I'm just looking to see if there's anything else that we have that would be of interest to us. Not much else. So everything else isn't really high impact. There's just little bits and pieces that will come out. Possibly the Michigan consumer sentiment, which might be related to inflation, but that'll be about 3 p.m. in the afternoon, later in the afternoon. So that's going to be evening. If you're on my east, and if you're on the west, it's going to be early morning. It's not going to be super exciting. I don't expect too much from that. Having a look at the charts is phenomenal. We've got a really nice strong euro dollars breaking up through that 1.02 level. So it's in an area now. It's in an area where up to 1.0260 it could struggle, but it's also broken upwards outside of the channel that it's in. Really, it looks like it's got its sights set on 1.03. So that's good. I love that opportunity there. It's looking good. Sterling also pushing right up now into the old high. So now what's happening with sterling is it's coming into previous support. So we're going to see if it finds any resistance there. We've got a stronger Aussie that's broken out of a range that looks good. Kiwi's breaking out, pushing up, coming up into resistance. If we then have a look at dollar yen did one of the most significant moves yesterday that it has done in the last year. It really traveled. The move within the daily candle, single daily candle, is the biggest one I've seen in years. It did like 2 months worth of moves in a single day. To my mind, that was ready because we know now Bank of Japan wants to kind of drop that. We know dollar yen does its own thing. It's been wanting to do that for a while. I think there was some collaboration potentially between the Bank of Japan traders and also anticipating what was going to happen with the CPI numbers, and they used that momentum to push it a lot lower. So really for me now, what's going to be on my watch list next week, and I'll talk about it when we do, whether myself or my lovely colleague Tamar does it, I'll be talking about what are the opportunities with the yen pairs next week. And then just having a quick look at gold. Gold had a phenomenal day yesterday, burst to that 1726 resistance level, pushing right up over 1750 as we are now today, en route towards 1800. So the reason I hesitated there is it en route there today? Is it going to take a breather? It needs to come back down, potentially come back down to 1725 to test that level of resistance as support. Maybe it's going to do it next week. Maybe today we're just going to forge ahead. The markets will just keep pushing, which is great for traders. Silver is going to be in the same thing. Silver is just rock solid. It is at $22 now. It is resistance. So the question is, does it need to take a bit of a breather, come back down to $21 before it can take another move at it, or is it going to push right through? And I think it'll be a good one to watch. Then if we have a look at crude oil, so crude oil has come back down to a level of support at 85. It's trying to find some support there, and I really want to see now if it can push its way back up. But in principle, again, I'm bullish on crude oil at this time. So although this week we had a bit of a setback or a knockback or a retracement, I'm now looking for that to resume that trend to the upside. The US indices are looking really nice and strong. I expect continuation. My expectation possibly today might have some really high probability, lower risk opportunities on trading those US indices to the upside. In terms of looking at individual stocks, Apple's had a really good rebound, so that's a nice double bottom for next week. That's going to be fantastic for trading. Amazon is still within a downtrend, not as safe as Apple is. Apple's looking really, really solid. If I have a look at, say, Coca-Cola, which impacts Berkshire Hathaway, we are looking good. We're looking really good. I expect that to climb, which means we're going to see Berkshire Hathaway climb as well. Let's have a look at a few others like Meta. What's going on with Meta? Meta's trying to close the gap. So there was a gap down a while ago. It's trying to close that gap, so it's going to work its way up to 120. I think it's going to close the gap. I think that's high probability. Netflix is actually looking relatively good. I really like the look of Netflix at this point in time. Weekly looks good, daily looks good. Netflix could be turning around, which I think is fantastic. Nvidia is looking super strong. Super strong. Nvidia is going back up to the old highs. This is all really, really good stuff. PayPal is also looking pretty good. PayPal really needs, like, I don't know what the hell's going on there, excuse my language, but that needs a bit of a boost. And let's have a look at Tesla. So Tesla is holding in that 180 level. Remember that the biggest seller of Tesla is Elon Musk. He's been selling $4 billion worth of his stock there. It's not really a good sign. So anyway, it's not a good signal to your base, you know. Anyway, and that being said, also let's talk very quickly about crypto. So cryptos, obviously, it's been a rough week for cryptos. I want to see them today. I want to see them close high. To me, if we get that weaker dollar, if we get everything else climbing, we should see cryptos climbing. The only reason that they wouldn't do that is there's still contagion from all the events this week. I would expect them to continue to climb. Ethereum is looking okay. It's pretty much held at support. Let's have a look at a couple of the others. Cardano is also looking really good. Cardano is set to do a beautiful turnaround. Technically, it's looking particularly bullish. Solana is the weakest of the bunch. That's got a way to go. Excuse me, and that's it. So there's a lot of really cool stuff, and actually usually Fridays can be a waste of time to trade often. Today there could be some good opportunities for day traders in line with a weaker US dollar. So I'm excited. I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to go start looking for some trades, and I want to wish you, ladies and gents, a fantastic weekend. Have a good one. Trade sensibly today. Don't do anything crazy, and we will catch up with you next week.